What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Stocks with Mike and Tom show. In today's video, we're going to be going over the best stocks to watch in the market for this week and some really important news to look out for. At the end of the video, we have a $1.8 million options trade that expires this Friday, so make sure to stick around for that. And guys, text StockedUp to 39970. Tom and I will be sending out updates and cool info through that phone number, so text StockedUp to 39970. But Tom, what happened with the market over the weekend?
Yeah, this was pretty insane. The SPY actually dipped down on Friday and then kind of went flat, but we can see that it did have like an end of day resurgence here, kind of popping back up a little bit. And I wonder if next week if the SPY will come back up and start to retest highs. And we saw huge earnings last week out of Amazon, NIO, Twitter, a few other stocks. I believe Apple and Microsoft reported within the past couple weeks as well. And we just see like Amazon, for example, they really killed their earnings, but then they came right back down. And honestly, if you would have bought calls here, maybe you could have sold out right at open for a decent gain. But other than that, I mean, it tanked right off. And there would have been very little time to sell those calls for profit, especially with the type of move that was expected. And overall, it was a great move, but it just came right back down. And we have a bunch more earnings to cover for this week. And we have Chegg on Monday, iRobot, Pfizer, CVS, Corsair, SKLZ, which has been a very big hype stock lately, Activision, ATVI, T-Mobile, all on Tuesday. On Wednesday, we have GM, PayPal, Rocket Mortgage, Uber, Twilio. On Thursday, we have Moderna, Square, Roku, Peloton. That's a big one lately. AMC has also been pretty big. Friday, we have DraftKings, which has just been awesome. And I wonder how that's going to go because they did have March Madness in the last quarter. So they might report those numbers in there. And that'll be a pretty interesting earnings session there on DraftKings. But then also Nikola reports. So it's just overall, it's another good earnings week. Not quite as good as last week because we don't have Amazon, Neo, Twitter, Apple and stuff like that. But we do have some pretty good stocks. We can see we have like Uber, Twilio, PayPal, GM, and there is some good ones in here. And overall, my favorite ones I'm going to be watching are SKLZ, Activision, and then Rocket Mortgage.
I definitely have my eyes on DraftKings. I'm a huge fan of that stock, and I'll definitely be watching what they do on Friday. But guys, remember last week how, especially with Apple, Amazon, and Microsoft, especially Apple and Microsoft, they reported great earnings, and then the stocks just started to fall. And guys, I really wouldn't be surprised if we see some sort of similar movement like that. We have some of the biggest companies in the market reporting amazing earnings, and then they're just kind of tanking off. So just be on the lookout for that. This earnings has been pretty interesting to say the least. There's been some really interesting movement after the earnings releases. But what other major news is there?
Yeah, Fed Chairman Powell is actually speaking tomorrow at 2:20 p.m. Eastern time. So on Monday at 2:20 p.m. Eastern, he's speaking, but he's not expected to offer any fresh insights on the economy per CNBC. And like I said, like whenever we look at the SPY, it did come down and kind of bounce off lows or support on Friday and start to come back up. And Powell isn't really talking too much, but he's going to have an appearance to discuss community development at an online conference hosted by the National Community Reinvestment Coalition. So there's not too much going on, but last week Powell did talk and said the time is not yet to talk about tapering the Fed's $120 billion monthly pace of bond buying. And they pretty much reiterated last week that they're going to keep going forward with the same policies of bond buying and then also letting inflation go up a little bit. And that's pretty much their main thing right now. And he's expected to talk on Monday, but just keep in mind, it's almost like how he talked at that IMF conference a couple weeks ago. I don't think he's going to really move the markets too much, especially since he moved them as much as he did last week to the upside, and also Biden moved the market. So we'll just have to see what happens. But overall, he's not expected to really move the markets at all.
Gotcha. Yeah. So, Powell is speaking like Tom said, but it's not like an FOMC conference or anything like that. So good news there. And then Tom, I heard Warren Buffett had some interesting things to say about like options trading and Robinhood.
Yeah, and this is actually really interesting. Warren Buffett had a shareholder meeting for Berkshire Hathaway over the weekend, and at the meeting, he's quoted as saying, Robinhood has became a very significant part of the casino aspect, the casino group that has joined into the stock market in the last year or year and a half. And he also said that he was unhappy to learn how much short-term options activity there was in Apple, for example, and other stocks. But he said he's expecting a lot of that activity is coming through Robinhood. And that's a pretty interesting statement from Warren Buffett. Obviously, he's a little bit older, so I understand he doesn't like Robinhood, and he probably likes the traditional brokerages. But very interesting news out of him with this shareholder meeting. You guys can go check it out. There's some good articles on it, but overall, very weird news. I'm not. This is not really going to hurt Apple or hurt Robinhood. I don't think at all. But it's just interesting to hear how he says that he's expecting a lot of this activity is coming through Robinhood, and he's talking a lot about how a lot of these traders are gambling now. And obviously, Warren Buffett, his style of trading is buying stocks and holding them for a long time. So obviously, he's not really too big into the options market or anything like that. And really, he's just not a big fan of options overall. So that's part of the reason why he's saying this as well.
Yeah, so I know he does like he like sells puts and like covered calls and stuff like that, but he's not too much into like the short-term trading. But yeah, it's definitely interesting news. And let's get right into our momentum play and member of the day. Today's member of the day is Dogematic. So huge shout out. Thank you so much for being a super active member of the Discord. Thank you for being positive, and just thank you for being a great member of the Stocked Up community. So thanks for all you do. And let's get right into the momentum plays for tomorrow. And with the first one, we have Netflix.
Yep, and with Netflix, they actually popped on Friday, but make them pass above their high of a few days ago. Make them actually break above 515.50 to the upside.
All right, and then we have Twitter.
Twitter, TWTR, they had earnings last week and really tanked off like we talked about some of these stocks doing. Make them fall below 55.
All righty, and then we have AMD.
Yeah, this one's been actually pretty interesting. I can't believe it's going down personally, but make them fall below, let's see, I would do 81.35.
Alrighty, so we are eyeing out Netflix to the upside and Twitter and AMD to the downside only if they break the levels Tom listed. But now let's get right into the $1.8 million options trade that expires this Friday. We are looking at the Plug, PLUG, 29 strike calls that expire this Friday, May 7th. So looking at these ones, these calls are only like 50 cents out of the money. Looks like Plug is kind of bouncing off that $25 support, but they also have resistance right at $30. So I can see the smart money longing these options that, they want Plug to go up. It has dipped a lot in the past. I think they're in a great sector, but I think they have earnings coming up pretty soon. I could see on Thinkorswim's chart.
Yeah, for sure. And honestly, with Plug, it's a pretty strange situation here. It looks like it's been trading in a range for the past few days, but let's go to that daily chart and let's see. The earnings are going to be on May 6th, so just watch out for that. And if we go to that 5-day, 15-minute, it is starting to break above some of these SMAs pretty nicely. On Friday, it kind of had an end-of-day resurgence with the SPY, which was great. So hopefully we can start to see this move up on Monday, and if it breaks above 29 significantly tomorrow morning, really look at this for calls, because that was almost like the high of yesterday, or Friday, I should say. The high of Friday was around 29.20 or 29.21. So if it breaks above like 29 or 29.20, really look at it. I think that these guys are longing these personally. Obviously, they could still be shorting them, but just personally looking at the chart and everything, I think that they're longing them, and I really do like the setup here on this 15-minute chart. The daily isn't necessarily my favorite, but the 15-minute looks a lot better.
Sounds good. And like even looking at like a yearly chart or like a 9-month chart, we can see it ran up so much over like the past couple months, and now it's really starting to pull back. It's down over 50% from its highs. So like if you like this stock for the long term, it might not be a bad buy right now. You know what I mean? Like it's not a bad dip buy is what I'm trying to say. So, just keep an eye on it. We have a lot of money flowing into the call options. But let's get right into our questions from the previous episode. And with the first one, we have Amor saying F and then A. So Ford, let's take a look at Ford first. They are bouncing off that like $11.50 support very well. And I think, especially if we hold this, I think it'll look pretty good.
Yeah, definitely. They just had those bad earnings and started to go down. Hopefully they can hold this level, because they have went up so much this year that even with this drop, they could still go down quite a bit more, I think. But that support hold was actually awesome, the way that they held that. And they held their ground on Friday, staying high as well. So hopefully they can still go. And the second stock you said was A, right?
Yep.
Yeah, with A, this one's a little bit worse. I'd say it pulled back a little bit too much here over the past few days. It looks like it's flat. Maybe it's going to bounce off the support here around the 133 and go back up. That would be my main hope here. Or else if it breaks below 133, then I'd get some puts.
Yeah, so actually, it looks like 130 is a decent support as well. I really wouldn't be surprised if we retest that, just looking at the way the chart has been over the past year or so. So just be on the lookout for that. And then with the next question, we have Outlaw saying SENS is a long term hold for the next 2 years or more. Average in where you can. So let's take a look at it. So we don't really trade penny stocks, so it might be a good investment, might not. We don't really trade penny stocks, but it looks like there is a really strong support right off $1.75. It bounced in that area quite a few times, so I think that as long as it holds that, it should be golden.
Yeah, I think so too. And they do have some news like with diabetes and stuff like that as well. So if they keep coming out with some innovative products or they get some good hype around them, they could start to pop like they did in the past, obviously. So just watch out. It could be good for the next couple of years, but just given how low in price it is and volatile it is, it's always going to be super risky. Like way more riskier than grabbing like Apple or Netflix or anything like that, obviously.
All right, and then we have Ryan saying, I bought some shares of Tesla and Microsoft today. So it's probably a good idea, especially with Microsoft. And you could even say Tesla, like averaging in when they pull back. I think that's awesome. I was selling some puts on a lot of stocks last week. So I think that's awesome. If we look at Microsoft, they are really bouncing off that $250 support, which is great to see. Tom, do you have any levels on either of these stocks?
Yeah, I mean, Tesla's really close to that $700 level, which is a pretty big level, obviously. And it on Friday, there was some really crazy movement. Let's go back to Tesla's chart real quick. But there was some really crazy movement on Friday. We could see the stock opened around 665, and it just straight up exploded all the way back, way up to 715, and then it came back down and bounced off the 700 support once again and came back to the upside. So I don't know what to think here. They initially were read off these bad earnings, but hopefully now it's starting to get some good momentum behind it, and it can start to come back up good off of that $700 support. And with Microsoft, intraday, I'm really going to be looking more of that $250. It looks like there was a weird candlestick coming all the way down to 246, but overall, 250 looks like the better support here. Intraday and on the daily, like 245 to 247 looks pretty good.
Sounds great. With the next question, we have Reyes saying, what do you guys see on Disney? I have the PPO starting to go bullish on the daily. Strong support at 184 on the weekly chart. Watching for a breakout of a consolidation wedge to 190 to 200. I will cut losses slightly below 181, but I'm bullish overall. Can't wait for earnings. So it sounds like you definitely have a plan, which is the main thing. Most people don't even have a plan. So, of course, stick to your plan. But, Tom, what are you seeing with this one?
I'm actually looking at it pretty well to the upside. Also, it's moving amazingly above these SMAs. It is getting a little bit close to like this area of resistance, somewhere around like 187, 188. It might hit some resistance right there, but overall, I think it looks like a pretty good setup to the upside. Let's go to that daily chart, and yeah, they did have quite a big pullback from around 203 all the way down to around 180, which was a good support they bounced off of over the past few days, and they're also right on that 100 SMA on the daily chart as well. And honestly, they just look like they're consolidating pretty well here, and looks like they might actually pop back up. So I think I'm with them. I'm going to be looking at Disney possibly back to the upside. And plus, I think that they just had some great news where they talked about opening their California park, and I think that's going to be another big aspect as they start to reopen the economy here.
Sounds great. And we have Piper saying, thanks, Mike and Tom. Appreciate all of your work. What do you guys think of, what do you think Palantir will do in the short term? Earnings are on May 11th. So let's take a look at this one. It's been stuck in this range for a couple months now, right between, you can say like $26 down to like $20. It's just been going back and forth, and it's just really struggling to break out of this range. Anything can happen in the short term. Over like the next couple months, I see a lot of growth potential in this stock. Depending on what they report for earnings, that might help them pop up. But yeah, I mean, they're just really stuck in this range. So until we actually break out of that, I'm not really expecting any major movement.
Yeah, I agree. And intraday, it looks almost like a little bit bearish here intraday on the chart. It looks like it hit off of 2350 a couple times over the past 2 days and kind of had like a double top around there. Now it's trading around the low around 23. I would definitely just wait for it to break out of that range because we can see that it really just likes to trade between there. And obviously, we are kind of closer to the bottom edge of it. So if you were someone looking to grab shares, it might not be a bad time to average in, or maybe you could start to sell some puts as the premiums go up as we see some more red days come in.
Alrighty, well, Tom, do you have any last minute stocks, options, or anything you're watching for tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean, man, we really saw Tesla and some of those EV stocks pop back up. I was really hoping like AMD and some of those other ones could pop as well, but looks like we're looking at these ones to the downside. I don't know if the chip shortage has any big effects on these or not, but looks like AMD and some of these other stocks are starting to go down. So possibly look at AMD to the downside. I'm also going to be eyeing up NIO to the upside tomorrow. I know that they went down on their earnings, and Tesla has also been going down over the past few days, but overall, that EV market had such a good Friday that how can you not look at it? I mean, it was just an awesome resurgence. Tesla came back above support, so did NIO, so hopefully they can kind of hold up above those levels and kind of head back to the upside this week.
Sounds great. Well, thank you guys so much for watching today's video. Don't forget to subscribe to our live trading channel. The link is in the description down below. Tom and I have been going live every single day at Market Open. So subscribe to the new channel and come and join us live right at Market Open on the new channel. If you guys are new here, don't forget to subscribe here. We post brand new videos every single day. And if you have any questions, let us know in the comments down below. But other than that, thanks for watching.